Over time, we've discussed Dangote, and I hope people know Dangote is still trending. Like, Dangote is still trending, his refinery is still trending, and all of that. And then last week, we started a conversation around get rich quick schemes and how people have actually fallen for it over and over again. And I'm not even sure people are still ready to even stop falling for it, because the desire is just to probably get the money. A lot of thoughts are not being put in. So we are going to be continuing with that conversation today. Though our speakers changed a little, but then it's still the best pattern, so we can get different ideas on it. And then last week we started it, and this week we are going to be ending this fully one on the book A Fool at 40 by Dr. Kayode Femi. So in that fully one, we have a part where it said the 5 laws of gold. Okay, so now the 5 laws of gold are revealed in a campfire tale by a wealthy camel trader, Calabar. He starts by asking his audience which they would choose, a bag of gold or a clear tablet inscribed with wisdom. Everyone opts for the gold. However, he points out that without wisdom, they would just waste the gold and end up back where they started. Gold, or money, he says, accrues only to those who understand the laws of governing it. Calabar then explains the 5 laws of gold, which he says originated from Akkad, who passed them on to his son, Namasia, for whom Calabar was once worked. So the 5 laws of gold, he states that 1, you acquire gold by saving regularly, at least a tenth of your earnings, to build wealth for a secure future. Then the second one, he said, gold grows when you invest it, along with the interest you receive on it wisely. Your gold will stick around and grow if you follow competent advice from financial experts. That's the third one. And the fourth one is you will lose your gold if you follow bad advice or rely solely on your judgment when you lack experience. Then 5 is you will also lose your gold if you succumb to the allure of get-rich-quick schemes or risky investment strategies that promises huge profit payoffs. So these are the 5 laws that he stated, right? And we have very brilliant minds, Ms. Teresa, Dr. Kayode Femi, Dr. Praise Akobo, and we are going to be getting their thoughts around it. Which would they choose? Would they if they were the audience, would they have gone for the gold or would they have gone for the words of wisdom? So let's start with Dr. Kayode. So let's start. Okay, let's just start from there. Would you have gone for the gold or the words of wisdom? And which, if anyone you choose, why would you have gone for that?
All right. So I think this book is Richest Man in Babylon, and it's an old book. So gold is now money now. So to put it probably in our own local context, so which will you go for? 5 billion naira or or a full at 40? The book a full at 40. So I'm tempted to throw the question back at you, Dr. Nancy. Will you go for, okay, so let's not, 5 billion is quite a handful. Let's say somebody approached you and you have not seen this book before, and then they said, a fool at 40, a compilation of all my foolish decisions and how to save yourself the trouble. This book or 1 million, which will you go for?
Or 1 million?
Or 1 million?
The 1 million.
The 1 million, exactly. Exactly. I'm also thinking what I will go for. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what I will go for, but again, the 1 million sounds very tempting. And so maybe I would say if so I wrote this book, so it's easy for me to go for 1 million, right? But if this book were written by, let's say, somebody,
let's say it was written by Dangote, would you have gone for it or gone for the 1 million at that point?
No, so I'll go for the book.
You go
and
for the book.
Without question, I will go for the book, for the wisdom. If Dangote wants me to give him 50 million for just an hour, I will.
Just to learn from his knowledge?
Not even just to see him. If it's just to see him physically and shake him.
But you can always run into him anywhere.
So running into him, it's not the same as
Sitting down. Granting an audience with him, you mean? Oh, okay.
Okay, so
you can meet him at a wedding and that's it.
No, it's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same.
No, there's this energy you get when you see somebody you have studied for 10, 20 years. And you remember the first day I saw Sam Adeyemi? I almost knelt down to shake him. I only shook him once. But you know, he had this tremendous impact in my life that seeing him was electric. So maybe my preparation also, or the value I've placed on our physical contact, so I could exchange money for that energy. I could exchange money for that energy.
Okay, so Dr. Praise, what would you have gone for, the gold or the money? Now let's Are we ready? Okay, so Dr. Press, we stopped with you, right? So which would you have picked?
So you
The
said 10
gold,
million, right?
yeah, okay, yes, I already gave a scenario, right? Would you have gone for 10 million in a broke state, actually, when you don't have money and you have needs, you have people calling you from home, you have friends looking around the corner because they have needs and they think you can help them. So would you go for 10 million or go for a wisdom book?
I would have sincerely gone for the 10 million.
Okay, so why would you
Yes.
go for 10 million?
Yeah, so the current me, just like you've explained, the money is important. And aside that, I can probably utilize that fund to get the book, just like what someone has said. But if it was for something, maybe like meeting with someone who I have been looking at meeting with, even if it's just for an hour, I may begin to think around, or if it's for a book that I know that I could still purchase, then I would go for the 10 million. With what you explained,
Okay.
I'm currently in need of funds and all of that, I would go for that. But on a second thought, but that second thought, I'll share it later because I feel like there's something you want to say.
Okay,
Or
so
should I-
from the book,
Okay.
they said it's gold or eclair of pots
Yeah.
or tablets, inscribed with wisdom. So let's put it like this now. So if it was a clay tablet inscribed with wisdom, and you had 10 million, and then you had that tablet inscribed with wisdom, would you still go for 10 million or go for the tablet?
Okay. Sincerely, still with the present me, I may go for 10 million. Yes. But I'm now thinking, if I'm actually in a state where I have, which I am currently, I have other means where I could raise funds. And I see that, let me give a scenario. If that clay of wisdom is written by the Wright brothers, I will go for it. This is because this is someone that for years, or this a set of persons that for years, I have learned a lot that has built me.
Okay.
And I've been looking forward to, imagine them writing like a biography of everything that has happened with them, all of their processes, their learnings, their successes in that tablet. That's a lot for me. And it may be something that we cannot find out there.
Dr.
Right.
Praise, without thinking.
So,
This is 10 million.
And
This
this
is
is a
a
tablet.
book written by the Wright
Wright
brothers.
brothers.
Now, without thinking,
No.
what will you choose?
no.
Without thinking, you're thinking.
Okay, without thinking, no, 10 million.
10 million.
Without thinking, 10
So-
million.
So, Teresa, what would you pick?
You already know that is the money.
So why would you pick money when you have a wisdom book or a
Because
wisdom
with
tablet?
money, I can still buy the book.
So what if it's something money cannot buy, but then the wisdom is going to be there?
More
But you
money
know
can
money-
buy it.
More money can buy it.
What money cannot buy? More
More
money
money
can
can
buy.
buy
it. Someone else said that. Yeah, trust me. Having more money can give you access. It can even give you audience with those people you want to read about. Because when you, like he said, Dangote now, imagine that you now have some good trillions of naira. Dangote will want to have an audience with you. He will look for you. So
You-
I will go for the money.
Okay, so do you think, just a track question, do you think without wisdom, a random person out there can manage 1 trillion?
Can even get, not even to even get.
Okay, yes, actually, let's even start from
1
getting it
trillion.
before managing it. Do you think a random person can get and manage 1 trillion?
No. And it's dicey because some people are born with wisdom. They don't need to read it. It's inborn. While some people learn about it. So it's very dicey.
So when you say born with wisdom, what is it? I want to understand the born with wisdom before we go to the next.
Yes, because most people are young and okay, let's look at Dr. Kayode now. he's 40 and he's among the billionaires. But many people are in their 40s and they haven't achieved a lot. So it's like he was born with wisdom and then
He was not born with wisdom.
he had the wisdom. Yes, he does. He did. Yes, trust
No, he
me.
did not have wisdom.
No, if he didn't have
did not
wisdom,
have
he
wisdom.
wouldn't have been able to.
I beg to disagree in this one. Like this one, no, I beg to disagree. He didn't have wisdom.
So probably will just have
What-
to speak
what am
about
I
this.
supposed to
I also think from this line, like, let's bring it in the aspect of, should I say, marketing. Dr. Nancy, you are the pro in this aspect. So I've noticed that, sir, for this book, your book, some persons did not buy this book because they wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
They bought it because of the identity, the person who wrote the
Who
book.
wrote the book, of course.
So now looking at it from that perspective and from what you said, it means that if I have a clay of wisdom in a book, right, and the money, like I said, this is like my second thought, but the 10 million still stands. Because of the identity of the person that has written that clay of wisdom, I would easily go for that. So sometimes people don't buy ideas, they buy identities
They buy
behind
the
that
book.
idea.
Of course.
Yes,
I
so-
agree with that.
Most times it will be like that.
But you know why I am saying I disagree? It's
Okay.
this book entirely. It's about foolishness.
Yeah.
Like everything from
There can be
beginning to
foolishness.
the end.
Wisdom comes with foolishness too.
Yeah, yes, of course, it comes
Very
with
well.
foolishness. But if you have read the book, right, from beginning to the end of it, you realize that at some point, in fact, I'm sorry, sir, but from beginning to the end, he was literally making mistakes and learning from them. It's not because he was wise while making those decisions. It's even because he was not wise. If he was wise from birth, he would not make certain decisions he made. So, but let's go back to our conversation, right? Before we start this book, because if we start talking about this one, we will not live here today. So, you know, they said a lot of people actually already believe that when the poor people have money, it goes back to the rich,
Yes.
right? So, Dr. Kayode, do you or can you link it with this speaking gold over
Wisdom.
a clay inscribed with wisdom words?
Okay, so again, I think sometimes with ideas like this, I enjoy listening, because listening to him and also the entire conversation, I know subconsciously now I will go for wisdom.
Wisdom, of course.
And yes, now,
Now, of
subconsciously.
course, subconsciously.
But I have to also know and understand why people will go for money.
Money.
The entire, and I say this with every sense of responsibility, the entire idea around Farmalat came from a book I bought 300 naira. Sam Walton, made in America. I saw that book in Port Harcourt, in a junction, scattered on the floor. And I asked the man, how much is this book? All this fairly used. And I bought that. The associate we call ourselves now came from that book.
That book.
The entire idea of trying to do a retail store of veterinary stores across the country came from that book. The discipline. I read that book. I cannot count the number of times I read that book, but without any exaggeration, more than 20 times. It's the book you will find on my shelf with plenty tapes and plenty gum. And up till now, it's still scattered, because if I have to put the book, I will put the book together and it will not stay together. So I have mined quite a handful of ideas. I've seen the transformation that has happened in my life from just some ideas I get from book. So at this point, it's easier for me to say that if I find a clay of wisdom, because till this moment, I need that wisdom to move from this level. I was in a gathering, in church to be precise, in the morning, And I started dreaming around, so there's a concept around Kayode shelter. I want to build 1,000 homes as phase one, so that people, instead of renting, they can stay in that house for 15 years and own. The average person spends money in renting. They spend their most useful life renting, paying bills. At the end of the day, when they are 50, 60, the only place to look back to is their children. We are harming an entire generation. So I started thinking through, how do we create an ecosystem where young people, despite they are working, they are paying the normal rent, and at the end of 10 to 15 years is their own house. So do I have what it takes or the wisdom to build that? I don't. If somebody comes and gives me a template on what to do to get to that level, money will always come. So there are two ways for money. It's either you're pursuing it or you're attracting it. If you have a value proposition, it will look for you. So if you collect the money, in quote, you're pursuing the money. If you collect the idea and you become an embodiment of that idea, you are attracted. Dr. Prince, as you're sitting down like this, there's an idea you will have and you will execute that everybody will be giving money to you. In 24 hours, there was this lousy, okay, pardon me, not lousy. There was this lady on Twitter, I think she cooked for her husband or something. It trended one time like that. That she cooked for her husband.
She wakes up by 4 a.m. to make breakfast for her husband, who is a classroom teacher.
That thing that trended made that lady rich. So you could be rich in 24 hours just by pressing the right set of buttons. So subconsciously, and I don't want to, I want ideas to flow, but subconsciously now, I will always pick an idea that I think will make me valuable so that I can attract the resources.
So let me put it this way. Do you think it's just the subconsciousness that makes the poor man pick money over ideas?
No, a poor man, I think the definition of a poor person is he looks at the end result without the process. You will always lose it. Money is an end result. If you have it, it's as a result of something you have done. If you win it in a lottery, or trust me, and we can experiment among us. Let's say we have a free 20 million we can lose, and we give it to, and we do, I don't know who to call. Let's say we give it to, let's call him Samuel. If Samuel doesn't have, and we had a recent situation, a close person had a lot of money, and then in 2 years the person was buying cars, and you know, at the end of the day, if you cannot better manage the resources in your hand, it will leave you.
I sincerely think so too. I sincerely think that is why the idea is still more important than the money, because a lot of people don't even understand how to use money.
So maybe don't put it ideas, let's put it wisdom.
Wisdom, yes. Let me not call it ideas, actually, the wisdom. People don't still have the, or let's just say this subconscious thing, it has eaten so deep into us that a lot of us don't even understand money. We don't understand money, and I think that is why we still go for money over wisdom most times. It's not because we think about it. A lot of us don't think. We just pick money because of our current situation and not think about what happens next. So, but still hanging around that, right? From the 5 points that this book gave to us, that's the richest man in Babylon. He said, you acquire gold by saving regularly. I remember while growing up, I don't know if we were forced, I cannot remember that part, but I used to have this box.
You mean?
Kolo.
Exactly, Kolo. Like I think from
still do though.
Primary 1, primary 2, I think even while I was in nursery school, in fact, all my siblings, I think we all did it. Like we go when we are going to school,
I'm sure
they will
used to
usually
it.
give us.
I'm used to it.
Yes. So
I
they would
still have
usually.
it.
You still have it.
Yes.
Fantastic.
They would usually give us, even if it's 15 naira or 20 naira, no matter what they give to us as food, right? So when we are coming back, once we are arriving, you will see us going to put it in the box.
Most people that went to boarding school are used to that kind of saving.
So
You have to.
no, exactly. So for the boarding school self, you are grown. But for us, like right from when you are still in primary one,
If they give you money at
they,
home, you have
they
to go
make
and
you
put
learn
it
it.
there.
I don't know how my parents did that, but I think they did that a lot. So, but then, in recent times, I've heard a lot of people say, that there's nothing like savings anymore because once you're saving, and then your savings will save your life eventually. So it means literally, let's say you save 1 naira now, the next day you're going to use that 1 naira to save yourself. So Dr. Praise, why do you think that is happening? Is it really just the economic issues that we are currently facing in the country that is actually making people think savings are no longer doable?
Okay, so that could be part of it. But I think the whole mindset thing still comes in because was it 2 Sundays ago, where Dr. Kayode shared this scenario that what's your 70% saving
Cannot do 50%.
100%
cannot
and
solve it.
something like
yes,
that.
Last
so
Sunday.
okay, last Sunday, right? Okay, so it's still that whole mindset thing. Now, this scenario came to mind, and the popular prodigal son. The reason why that came to mind is because one of the times I was reading about savings, what I saw from the experience he had was they said from that particular verse, it was said that after he had spent all, he began to be he spent. So he didn't have the wisdom to manage the funds that was given to him. And of course, the expenditure and the spending led to him to get to that point of being in want, right? So I would say that largely, even if the state of the economy is the way it is right now, you can still save if you really want to. And there are strategies to deploy. For instance, I have persons who, they do, what do they call it? Something,
Contribution.
akawo, thank you. Yes, because they know that they can't save themselves, right? Like you just said. Okay, so they can't do that by themselves, rather. So they go that means. So that after 1 year, the money is given to you and it's a roller coaster for them. Probably they begin again. So if that works, I don't know, I've not really done that part. But if it works and you see that the normal way of saving doesn't work for you, you can do that probably because you cannot manage saving yourself and ensuring that you keep the funds to utilize what you want to or what you want to use it for. So I would just likely say it's the mindset. First, the mindset, because with that, you can still win.
Okay, so Teresa, let me rephrase this question a little, right? Do you think saving is important? So why would you be saving money when you can actually be investing it? Is there a reason why somebody should be saving? When, as you're saving it, you're not making profits, you're not making interest, you're not making, you're not making nothing, you're just putting it somewhere. So would you rather save than invest, or invest and not save?
Saving is also investment.
How is it investment? Like
When you save let me use myself. I save no matter how small. I try to, even if it's 200 naira, 100 naira, I just channel, I have something to fall back on. In case of emergencies, who do you run to if you don't have savings? Sometimes you can put money into an investment and you have an emergency. You can't get that money back. You have to fall back on your savings. What about your health? Health doesn't give us a lot when he breaks down. We just break down. And so you need that saving to call up for you. So you have to just differentiate between investing and saving, because saving saves a lot. It saves a lot.
So that literally now brings me back to where, because I think I've seen it on Twitter or everywhere, and that means we are still going back to where they are also going to, right? Because they keep saying your savings will save you.
Yes.
And it's not because, I'm not sure it's because of these points you just said though.
It's still the same thing. Your savings will save you. It means if you are saving, Sapa cannot catch you plenty. That's just the Because if you're saving, many people right now, they are eating from their savings. They had money, they don't have anymore, but they have something they kept somewhere. So they are only using it to sustain themselves. And then look at those investments they have. But imagine they didn't have savings. Like politicians. Let's look at politicians. It's a tenure thing. After 4 years, you won't be in that office anymore. You have to save. In as much as you do the investments, you need that savings. You need it because there will come a time when you will not have 5 naira. It's not because you're poor, but you don't just have. So you have to just fall back on that little thing you've kept aside to say, these are for rainy days. So saving is still very, very important in quotes. It's a big importance. Even though you want to invest, investing is very good, but don't invest all your resources. You have to save some. Because if you don't save, what do you fall back on? You can't fall back on human beings, no.
But you can fall back on your investment.
No, what if that investment is a long run investment? Investments don't come, you don't see, you hardly see.
Sometimes you don't see the raw cash, right?
So you need that savings, trust me. You still need it because you will fall back to it. That's just how life is. If you don't have savings,
So I saw somewhere, someone wrote, savings gives you security and investments helps you build.
Okay.
So I think
You're very right.
it goes in line with what she's saying.
So savings gives you security.
Security, investments help you build. That's
So
it.
what if the savings fails? And then, it's possible the savings fail you, right? So let's put that scenario. What if the savings fail? So let's put the scenario like this. You have money. So every month you're being paid salary. And you take it out to put in a savings account, right? Let's use the savings account now. And you invest the other ones. So now, you're saving for some things, and then in the long run, you don't even get to use the savings for what you were saving it for because of emergencies and all of that. And, there could be a lot of scenarios. So in such cases, your savings most times even does not go into what it was planned for. So in that kind of scenario now, do you still think that the savings would be a better thing to do than an investment?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Okay,
why?
so
I still say savings is important. You cannot lose your savings. It's you. It's inside of you. It's mismanagement. That's what it's called. If you lose your savings, it means you've mismanaged your resources. But if an investment goes wrong, it's other people that have let you down, not you. So you only let yourself down by losing your savings.
Okay, so Dr. Prez, what do you think? You wanted to say something like that, right?
she had already said that. I just wanted to add something to what she said. So for me, I would say that saving is still really important because some persons have learned budgeting. There are rainy days, right? So people have learned how to budget. They call it emergency funds. People get that, emergency funds. So just in case something comes up, she mentioned that of health, so you can fall back to that. So everything she has said as relates the difference between savings and investments works well with me, and it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the third and the fourth, and it's almost saying the same thing, right? A lot of people out there don't have the experience to manage gold, now in this scenario, money. And most times, what they eventually do is just follow any advice they see. Like, no matter where this advice is coming from, as long as it's something that they are hearing, just because they lack the experience, right? They follow it. So, Dr. Kayode, now, what do you think happens at that point? Like, why are they just hopping on every advice that comes their way? Is this still just because they lack experience in managing the gold, or because they lack experience in even understanding what the gold is or what the gold can do?
All right, so I won't see it this way. Uh, so money is a career path, and the more you learn, I think the better it is that you can achieve what it is you want to achieve with money. Hopping into different advice, and I've had that situation where, you know, I get advice on how to use money, and then you eventually lose those money. You see, going back to what she said, that if you lose your saving, you let yourself down. If you lose your investment, it's others that have let you down. How long do you want others to keep letting you down? You will, to grow money, you will have to do the hard work of knowing yourself. There's no two ways about it. You see, if others keep giving you advice, it's fine. But what happens to you? I think one of the key things we young people need to invest in is in financial literacy. It has been deliberately removed from our curriculum. And that way, there's a limitation on what, that's why people go out, graduate, and then they become really very dumb with money. You will need to do yourself the favor and buy yourself the literature and buy yourself the books so that you can weigh advice. In fact, advice that does not even work for people who are, more of the people who are giving advice are people who need your money to excel. So, how do you want to commit your resources into the hands of somebody who is waiting to receive your money before he can be paid?
Actually,
Don't do that.
so can we now liken this to or link it with getting rich schemes?
Yeah, that's,
These quick schemes that people just tend to, how do I put it? They rush into it.
Yeah.
Like, can we link it to that, Dr. Praise?
Yes, very well. Because one thing I've seen so far with the Get Rich scheme strategies, they utilize emotional triggers.
Yeah.
And we are women, we have feelings. So if you can incite them with greater feeling, then of course you've gotten their hearts. And one thing I've also seen is that people are constantly looking for what to believe in, who to believe in, and when. So with that, once you have that strategy in place, then you've gotten them. And that's why we fall to those rich schemes so easily.
And we'll keep falling.
And we'll keep falling.
Until we learn.
I think so. I think so. Because I'm not sure anything is still being put in place to probably educate people on even how to know when those things are not the proper channels of making money.
We're too emotionally gullible. That's the word.
Exactly.
We put emotions to everything. And so when you are too emotional, you don't think so much. You just want results. You're not thinking about other things. You just want it. You just want it. You just keep looking for things that will satisfy that ego inside of you. It's not like that's what you need at that time. It's just your emotions that are flying around, and then you feel, oh, this is it, so let's do it.
So you're indirectly saying or directly saying that emotional intelligence is also part of
Absolutely.
money making.
No, I shared something a few days ago. There are skills you will learn that will pay you forever. Emotional intelligence is a big part of it.
All right, so we had just 30 minutes, and I think our 30 minutes is up, and we'll continue with another Foley by next week. Thanks for sharing your ideas. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and of course, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. I'm happy to have every one of us again today. So the last conversation that we just heard asked, which will you choose? Will you choose money over a clay inscribed with wisdom? Will you choose money over a clay inscribed with wisdom? Will you choose money over a clay inscribed with wisdom? And if we're going to answer those questions honestly, so it's easier to choose money. In fact, by default, we're all going to choose money. Dr. Asika, if you have, there's a book I said I bought for 300 naira. If you have Made in America, one by Sam Walton on one end, and you have 10 million naira on the other end, what will you choose? Don't think. What will you choose? 10 million. 10 million. 10 million. Have we ever watched, and I'm coming to that, so let's keep that aside. So you choose 10 million, right? So you find a book written by Sam Walton, and you find 10 million, and you choose 10 million. Have we watched, I think I saw it probably on one of these somebody's handle on X. Is it on X or Instagram? I can't remember. I just can't remember. The person held 1,000 and sweets, 15 naira sweets, and 1,000, and pointed it to a child. What did the child choose? Sweet. Dr. Asika, if I put sweet, 15 naira, and 1,000 naira, which will you choose? 1,000 naira. You will always make decision on your level. The idea of picking 10 million over Sam Walton's book. Sam Walton died. He was the richest man in Africa. He died. His entire children are still on Forbes 20. Google Sam Walton. Google the Walton family. Only one of his sons is dead. The entire of his other 3 children and his grandchildren are on Forbes list. There's a reason why you're choosing 10 million. It's because of that's what your wisdom can accommodate. You will quarrel a child that chose a 15 naira over 1,000 because you know better. There's somebody that will quarrel you for choosing 10 million. So it is of paramount importance you acknowledge your level, but you pay attention to upgrading your level. I was telling, while we were on the conversation, I said that book I bought 300 naira has produced business that, is paying a handful of people. And you see, for us in this room, it is easier for us to choose 10 million. But I brought the example of a child for you to know that it is your level that is determining your choice. Somebody else will look at that 10 million and it will not be a question at all. The person will choose the wisdom from Sam Walton because the person has understood what Sam Walton did with his life while he was alive. Can we Google? Maybe it's just that there's no screen. The Forbes list of 100. And tell me how many Walton you will see. I think they're in the first 10 or so, or first 15. I can't remember. Can somebody check Forbes list? Forbes list, you know, some of these things, it's easier to. Yes, Forbes list of billionaires. Forbes list. Forbes list of billionaires. Forbes list. You know, there's a stock market crash now that has made Elon Musk lose a lot. Second. It's second now, yes. Yes, that's Louis Vuitton. Yes, it's one. Yes, I know. Yes, no, so we're looking for some Walton. So look at it. 18, Jim Walton and family, fantastic. 19 was what? Rob Walton and family. Which will you choose? A book by Sam Walton or 10 million? Alice Walton. If you go down, his grandchildren have started benefiting from his wealth. When I said I read that book 20 times, I wish I can buy the book and give to everybody. It was Sam Walton that wrote the book himself. It's not somebody that wrote it for him. And phenomenal book. He died, share his wealth, and most people have made a lot of money from Walmart. A lot of money from Walmart. So somebody who built that level of business is now saying that I have because I'm dead now, I've compiled everything, my life story in one book. And then you get to be deceived by 10 million. Don't allow your pain drive your future. Never allow your pain drive. You say, but how much is the book? You are still contemplating how much the book is. Because something still tells you value the 10 million. You are just trying to convince yourself that the 10 million naira is more important than any other thing. And it's okay. It's because it's your level. That's why you should not quarrel a child that picks one sweet, 15 naira sweet, over 1,000. That's his level. So anytime you make wrong choices, it's because there's a need for you to outgrow that level. And I'll say this last example before we get into, we have a lot to discuss today, and I hope I'll be able to pass everything across. My younger sister back then, in those days, we were compelled to always teach our younger ones math. And I wrote 2 minus 5. And she laughed me to scorn. And came back and said that Brother John, they used to call me John then, that is not possible. So who was foolish? Because, yes, she was laughing me to scorn. Because all through her education, they've taught her that you cannot subtract something big from something small. And she has believed it. Thank you very much. You understand that part. It cannot go. He understands that part. It cannot go. But the moment you upgrade your level, you know that it can go. It will only just give you a negative figure. Fantastic. You need to invest in knowing. It takes you out from the mud. Whatever it takes, you need to invest in knowing so that it can take you out of the mud as quick as possible. All right, so let's go into, I dropped a few points last week, and I didn't finish, so I'll finish that up. There was a quiz on the group that was operating system number 2. It's number 2 actually. So the correct answer is money is abundant. So, but let's start from the beginning. Operating system of money, we said money is important. And I remember last week I said, if you believe money is important, raise up your hand. Almost everybody did. But I know you don't believe. Because the proof of belief is pursuit. The proof of belief is pursuit. Proof of belief is pursuit. Or maybe attention. Somebody said, I think on one of these channels, that see, if your man or your woman is not giving you attention, well, something is wrong, right? What you love, you will pay attention to. What's important, you will pay attention to. While I was turning 40, I redrafted my priority to 3. So there are myriads. This life is too confusing. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of places you can go. There's a lot of things you can listen to. This meeting is for 2 hours. There's a lot you can do with 2 hours. But once you put priority on something, you give it attention. You go after it. And I said, let's not want to hide under the atmosphere of being self-righteous. There's a lot of good that money can do. Are there people dropping off schools? Are there people who cannot attend? You know, I was online and I was listening to, although I made a presentation, UI O-Taking, University of Ibadan O-Taking. And then the dean was thanking somebody. He said he saw a vet pushing wheelbarrow. Who listened to that? Pushing wheelbarrow to fund his own tuition. The vet will attend school. The vet student will attend school, and then weekend he will go and push wheelbarrow. See, don't allow anybody sweet talk you into the idea that it's better to be good and poor. You can do a lot of good with money. A lot of good with money. I gave us an example of somebody who went to the hospital. See, somebody was telling us that somebody went to the hospital, gave birth, and they could not discharge her because she was still owing. 1 week. Somebody's source of joy became a source of pain. Just imagine that they detained your wife. You have rallied ground. You have your child. You cannot pay the hospital bill. So imagine, Dr. Praise, you now walk into that hospital. If you have $1 billion to spare and you walk into hospitals and you figure out the people who are there because they cannot pay their bills and you clear up all their bills, God, in fact, so now imagine how God feels when he has you, but because you don't have money, a lot of people are dying. Enough of this, our parents telling us that money is not as important. It is a virus. It's a good virus, but when it gets into you, it will place a cap on what you need to do to earn. Nobody at this stage can tell me money is not important. I've seen the good it can do. I've seen the good. I've witnessed how good money can be. And money is colorless. It takes the color of the owner. We need more good people with money. This country will be better if we have more good people with money. I want you to make a commitment to yourself today that this money, you will have it. You'll have it. So don't hate. See, there's a reason why politicians, and I use the word with utmost respect, there's a reason why they play on our intelligence. It's because they know that poverty is real. People vote their stomach. They call it stomach infrastructure. Some of us will leave this place and eliminate hunger from our community so that people can have sense. I said in our TED talk, you see, when there's no more hunger, then people can think. We're not thinking in this country because there's hunger. And it's my hope that from this moment on, you will do whatever it takes to prioritize the idea of having money. The second thing we spoke about is that money is abundant. I still saw some people, and I understand when you say or you think money is scarce. See, we were brought up in that scarcity mentality. That's how we grew. Last week, I said 95% of bank accounts, there are over almost 220 million accounts, active accounts. 95% have less than 500,000. So I will understand when people choose that money is scarce. But guess what? We're talking about the operating system. You don't have any hope when you think it is scarce. Hope is lost. Dr. Sika, if I say pick up a black chair, you have hope, right? Because there are plenty black chairs. Although people are sitting down on some, but there are plenty black chairs. If I say now, pick up a completely red chair, will it be more difficult? If not impossible. If your mind ever think it's not available, you will not see it. Somebody wanted to pay me for my tax. A high-level official wanted to pay me. And the person said, he's coming to pay me. But I know the money was plenty. So I was like, come in. Why do you need? You don't need to. Just my account details. The person came with a car, opened boot, and it was sack of money. Some of those money, you keep it and be seeing it. To convince yourself that the money you need has been printed. That is not in your account does not mean it's not available. That money has been printed. Did you listen to, what's this man's name? This JP Morgan, the CEO of JP Morgan. He said in a tweet, and I can share it in the group, he said every day JP Morgan moves $10 trillion. You are not getting it. I didn't say 10 trillion naira. He said every day, I will pick up that thing and share it on the group. Every day, JP Morgan moves 10 trillion naira dollars around the world. Every single day, JP Morgan moves $10 trillion across the world. It is available and it is abundant. You want to pray, right? We'll wait for you. Money is available and it is what? Abundant. If you have that scarcity in your mind, you will not go anywhere. First of all, your brain will only produce what it believes. I had to convince myself over and over again that this money is available. So that's operating system number 2. You must believe that money is what? Abundant. Operating system number 3, and this is a slightly tough one, is that money is selective. he said, God, I beg. Selective. I wish I don't have to say this. I wish I don't have to say this. It selects. Money selects. Money selects. So money moves from area of less value to more value. So you will have to attract what it is that you want, prioritize having a reputation for value. And I want you to write this down, please. Have a reputation for value. So, of course, you know, I'm not talking in terms of you wake up and money comes. I'm talking in terms of something that is predictable. Money flows in the direction of value. When your name is written anywhere, you will have to commit. You know, there was a time we went for an event, and I was supposed to be part of the committee, and I went there late. And somebody I was serving was there, and the person was agitating. The moment I showed up, she entered her car and left. Because she knows if I'm there, there's no mountain I cannot succumb. Once you have that people can close their eyes and know that you will deliver, the money you will have is not here. As we're on this call, I just saw my phone ring. A high government official, not AIG, calling. You know, I say this thing not lightly. Don't waste your time with people who will not add to your value. You are burying your money without knowing. He that walks with the wise will what? Wise. A companion of fools will be destroyed. Your relationship will rub off on you. Right. What do you need to do is to develop a reputation for value. Once you develop that, money will find you. It's only a matter of time. Money will find you. So money moves in the direction of value. Wow, time. So when you understand that, your priority will now be to develop. Don't forget, I said a reputation for value. So you can even be valuable, but once that reputation is not there, that's why I encourage young people to go and serve free. Do whatever it takes for your value to find expression, even if it comes at no cost. Do whatever it takes. You know, people think maybe I made money from the veterinary council board. Zero. If you check the council, the boardroom, we renovated it from our money, Famala. Painted everywhere, did the rug. I've given more to the council in terms of naira, but I've gotten more from the council in terms of reputation. Don't be dumb. Don't look for money first. Look for a reputation for value. Every other thing will follow. Do whatever it takes to allow the value that you have find expression. Whatever it takes. Because it is that reputation that go to that person will get it done. This person is the person that can do it. Once you consciously cultivate that reputation, money will look for you. And lastly, because of our time, the operating system of money is that money is a seed. It can grow. Yeah. Subconsciously, if you give me $1 million, I will make it 10 million. Because money is a living thing. Money can grow. 1 can become 2. 2 can become 10. 10 can become 100. 100 can become 1 billion. Because money can grow. So if you have all these things running in your mind, then it's easy to build on it. But if any of this thought is out of your mind, it will be difficult to maintain surplus. It is important, it is abundant, it is selective, and it's a seed, it can grow. Once this operating system is running, everything can be built on it. So today I'm going to be talking about the discipline, and I'm running slightly very fast because I want to stay on some of these things to hit the point home. And because again, it's not head knowledge now. It's working knowledge, something that your body picks up and it sinks into your subconscious, that really works over time. So let's talk about the disciplines of money. Now, I want us to pay very rapt attention for a few reasons. Right. What you have is not as important as what you have become. What you have is not as important as what you have become. What you have can be taken away. Who you have become is yours forever. So if everything we go through doesn't help you become a better person, then we have missed the essence of this thing. Because, well, if we say surplus, Wilson, we can decide, say, we credit you $1 million, you have surplus, right? But if you have not become that millionaire, you will get back. It's only a matter of time. And as I said in the conversation, I've seen it happen over and over again. It's only a matter of time. That 1 million will finish. But if you have become it, you can go somewhere and drop $1 million, and your account balance is 0. It will come back. At this stage, I am. I am. So the discipline of money focuses on habits that you need to build. Because if it is not an habit, if it's not a habit or an habit, a habit, right? To not work. To not work. To not work. So I will be focusing on budgeting and saving. But let me explain this, because we have all heard the word budget and savings. But I know most of us don't understand. Everything that works consistently has numbers attached to it. When did we start this meeting? 3, right? What's today's date? Huh? And you are thinking of 12. Have you heard the word teach us how to number our days, right? Everything that will work has numbers attached to it. Our age has numbers. The day has numbers. The week, how many days makes a week? 7. How many hours make a day? 24. Gravity, what's gravity on Earth? 9.8. Thank you. You're a good physics student. You know, when I got the depth of numbers, I think that was when my life picked up meaning. Right. Everything that will work consistently has numbers. And if it will work forever, it has a formula. It has a formula. It has a formula. People, you see, the good thing about numbers is that it dies emotions. You cannot, because you are feeling sad, the day will change to 27 hours. You cannot, because you are happy. How many of us know sometimes, see, you know this agitation, my birthday is next week, my birthday is next week, everyone will collapse, 12 will come. It will not stay because it is your birthday. It will pass. And that's why, you see, it is predictable because it has a number and has a formula. It is predictable because it has a what? A number and has a formula. Most of us don't live our lives with numbers or by formulas. Most of us. The master of numbers just walked in. So that means the spirit is one. I want to carefully drop something because I know we will leave here not believing me, but it's up to you. I told us my life took a different, and I want to teach us a hard thing. A hard thing. If it has numbers, that's what guarantees its predictability. Just imagine that God created the earth anyhow, right? He said the morning, the afternoon, the morning, the night makes it one day, right? It is predictable. That's why it has a number. So this is the time to now write. So what's budgeting? It's attaching number to what's important. What's budgeting? Attaching number to something that is important. I want every one of us to make a commitment. Now, for every income, for every number, for every money that comes in, you will have to divide it using a consistent number, formula. You have to. For every income that comes in, you will have to what? Apportion it based on the number you yourself you approve today. If you do this thing, I can bet my life in 1 year, or in 2 years, or in 3 years, you will say bye-bye to anything. Right. So, 100%. Let's say you're earning 100,000. And these formulas can change based on what you think is important to you. So, but let's assume 70% for expenses, 30% for savings. That 30% you break it down to active, passive, and help. I'm getting somewhere. I told you that if it's going to work consistently and it's predictable, it has a formula. If your life is not based on a formula, it is unpredictable. Sapa will catch you. If it has a formula, it can, no enemy from the village can make it catch you. So let's assume, let's use my own formula. 70 expenses, 10 active, 10 passive, 10 help. So it means that from today henceforth, the only money you can spend is 70%. How tough is that? And don't make it 50%. Some people, you know, sometimes when I say some of these things, people, because of the pain they pass through, they want to say, no, it's only 40%. You will go back on your words. So if you know you are not very sure that 70% can take, you can still do 80. Huh? And spread the rest. You can even do 90. What you don't want to do is not to have a formula for your money. So let's assume you do 70, 10, 10, 10. For some people that are religious, they do 10% tithe. For some people, that 10% could be money you will dash out. Why do you need that part? I always advise people, have a part of your money that you can give out. Because if you have this abundant mentality, you will need to give to substantiate it, right? You cannot be tight-fisted and believe in abundance. Is that correct? Dr. Sika, you need to have a budgeted money that you can help people with. Regardless of what stage you are in your financial journey. You will need to budget money that you will give out. Because givers never what? Nah. The soul that gives is a soul that must have. It's a law of nature. So, if let's say 100,000 is your income, how much do you want to apportion to give out? If you say 10%, that will be 10,000. That is where all your family people that ask you for help will come from. Now, that's why I said this will be hard. This will be hard. So again, it's a formula. It's you that will decide what you want to do. But even if you budget 100% of your income to your family, it will not be enough. Do you know what kills most young progressive people? They live their life based on emotion. That situation, how many of us have been in a situation where you think you will just die? That tomorrow will not come. But you are still alive. You know, I usually tell my people a joke. It was girlfriend I had. It was a girlfriend. And she said she wasn't doing. And like my spirit would leave my body that day. It was girlfriend, oh. Like people were praying for me, oh. 1 week, like I could not do anything, like my whole world collapsed. I'm married now, 4 children. Not to the same person that wanted to kill me, to another person. What does he want? See, your family will not die. And you know the painful part. Even if you, and that's the painful part. Maybe your family is not like that. Some people, if you kill yourself for them, they will bury you. They will find the money to buy your coffee. I'm not saying don't be kind. I'm just saying don't be stupid. Because in Africa, we are all crabs. We pull each other down by our distress. You know, the day I made up my mind, I told my people, I said, all of us are inside a hole. One person needs to go out first. Before you can pull others out, you need to be out, right? I can conveniently pull my people out. Why? Because I'm out. And I pray my mother doesn't listen to this, right? One day she called me, and then they were going for, and that is sometimes the stupid thing we do in Africa. They were going for is it a burial or a wedding? I can't remember, but they were supposed to buy clothes. And they gave her the highest grade of clothes. And I didn't have any money in my savings to give out. And then she called me. I said, I don't have. And then she said, how do I expect people to be looking at her at the wedding? I said, Mommy, wear what you have. When they look at you, look at them too. She got so displeased and told me, and you know, I have very good parents, you know, my upbringing because of them. But because of that pain, right? She said she wasn't going to ask me for anything. It didn't last 1 month, she still asked me. Sometimes you will need to be frank with your people. You will need to separate what is necessary and what is unnecessary. If you start having this budget, your resolve will be tested. Let me even tell you that when nature understands your resolve, there's some problems he will not generate. You didn't hear that. When nature understands your resolve, some problem will not come up. It is because they know you are gullible. That's why problem still comes up. You didn't hear that. When nature understands your resolve, it will not manufacture some problems. But before you get to that point, it will first of all knock at your door. See, you know, we said last week, if you don't have, you will never have. You must have money that your soul must be seeing every day and say, I have. Because it is put towards building your surplus. You know, I said money is a seed, right? Operating system number. If there's nothing to plant, there will be nothing to grow. So, decide your own formula today. If it is 70 on your expenses, then I say keep 30, right? What's the issue? Okay, I'm sweating, yes, don't worry. I'll be fine. I didn't even come. But don't worry about it. Right. So if you have 70, so the way I've designed it, although this thing I've inverted mine, and you can, I'm not sure if I want to encourage you to invert you, right? I'm not sure. So we will talk about the path I have chosen in next week, because that's when we will now start talking about business. Your vehicle is the vehicle. I wanted something more, and the only vehicle that can get me to that place is to build a business, right? So we're talking about business and portfolio, but on this level, it's budgeting, right? If you have 70 for expenses, now you have accommodation, you have feeding, you have personal care, you have transportation. Don't spend your money after it has come. Spend it before it comes, right? So you sit down. I'm earning 100,000, and you have to start. I'm earning 100,000. So it means that everything I have to spend is from 70,000. So you calculate how much is your house rent. It is okay to leave the house you are staying if it is outside your budget. It is okay to get roommates to share your house. This idea of you don't want to share. Uncle, if the formula is not going to result, it's not, you have to maybe probably earn more or cut down on your expenses. Let's do a practical example. Are you staying with someone or you're renting? You're staying with, so who is renting accommodation here? All right, good. Okay. Accountant. You're alone, right? Well, okay. Please come to the stage. Thank you. All right. So how much is your 400? I don't even need to calculate. I know what she's earning. For 400, at 5,000. You they are doing other businesses. So bring out a sheet of paper, calculate, break down your salary into, let's even use this 400,000, right? It means that her rent every month is 35,000. Let's say 35,000, right? So what would be, how much do you spend on transportation every day to go to work? You have to put that. Let's say you spend 2,000 naira every day to work. You go to work 25 days in a week. That's how much? 50,000, right? 50,000. Your personal care. How much do you spend on hair? It's okay to cut your hair. You will find husband. You will find, trust me, you will find husband. It's not hair that makes people marry. Abi, is it hair? No. See, the guys are telling you now. It's not hair. We know. You know, I have 3 girls, and I saw the way, I was very happy the day they cut their hair. I was really very happy. Very happy. But they were crying. So I wanted to now joke. I saw that the thing was affecting them. So I now palmed down on the joke. Hair is expensive. I have a wife and I have 3 girls. And then they insist they want to be paid. And it's me that is going to be paying them. So I think they used the faulty comb or something. The thing now affected them. It's cheap to cut your hair. Very cheap. In fact, I have 2 clippers. I have 2 clippers, right? So your personal care, your crib, etc. How much do you spend every month? You write it down. For women, I think it's slightly more expensive, right? So, but for us men, I cut my hair four times a month, once a week, right? That's 1.5. 1.5 times 4. How much is that? 6,000. My cream. And so you have to break all these things down. When you break them, and honestly, you have to have this meeting with yourself. Huh? The reason why we fail is because we don't have meetings with ourselves. Right? Relax. Once you break it down, everything has to fit into 70%. Yes? Can we do a woman version of what you're doing? Because that 6,000 is not for men. For men. So how much do you spend? Personal care. How much do women spend on personal care? Your hair? Your hair?
No, I'm serious. It's
You see, that's already
50,000.
50% of your salary. No,
50,000
they
for
said per
a
month.
month. Yes. It's not only
No,
hair.
for
now.
hair, for their cream, for their etc.
Facials. It's skincare.
But you can find creative ways. There are oil you will buy.
So the cheapest
There
oil.
are oils you will buy that are
No.
still good. You know, the thing is that these things will not last forever. It will not last forever. But the beginning, you have to stay at that 70%. We have to make a commitment here that we will not spend above 70% of our income. Who is making that commitment? Thank you so much. So what you need to do is to budget. So this month, let's assume this month is gone. I want you to go home today and list everything you spend money on. You have to work with a formula. Why? So that your life or everything can be predictable. It has to be. Right. Break everything down. If it is more than 70%, start cutting it down until it fits into that 70% margin. If you are earning 50,000, the only money you can spend out of that 50,000 is 35,000. Eh? If you are earning 33,000, the only money that you can spend, what's 70% of 33,000? But most couples have sources of other incomes, right? Just ensure that your life is a funnel of a formula. That anything you get, money you get from your parents, money you get from doing other jobs, everything comes into that funnel. As soon as that money, wherever it is coming in, 70% is expenses. Move 30% to another account where you cannot touch. So what do you start doing with the other 30%? That's where you will break it down into 3. So again, as I said, I'm not following this formula, but this is my advice. So, and you can change it. You can do 5%, you can whatever it is. I always encourage, and that's where next week's meeting will come into place, that you will have to have capital for a side business. And as I said last week, that capital for a side business, first of all, is not for the money. What did I say? It's for the what? The skill. You will not be rich until you can walk through people. Do you know what they call division? When 2 people are working with 2 different mindsets. It is leadership skill to be able to bring everybody into one team to pursue one goal. You know, somebody was complaining to me that one member of the person employed somebody and then the person are there people who have finished people's business? It's division. There's a skill that you will need to learn that makes people think the way you're thinking. And if they are not thinking the way you're thinking, the skill to build a structure around safeguarding your money and growing a business is a valuable skill. And that's what we're going to be talking about next week. But if you don't have the capital to even start, and side business could be as, I keep coming back to Uncle Jerry about POS. Well, it takes just 100,000. Abi? In fact, if you're even very creative, maybe 50,000. But I think he now told me that the difficult part of POS business is what? Maybe getting cash or something. That's the difficult part. But again, there are creative ways. And guess what? There are businesses. It's just for your mind to now say that this is what you want to do. We all have spare times. Those spare times, and it can even be content creation. Whatever. You will need to decide on what side business you will need to put in your money for. And if the income starts coming in, then hurrah, it's a good thing. Then you need to decide, as I said earlier, what percentage do you want to give out? Then lastly, what percentage you will not touch? I like what she said when we're having a conversation. See, if you've been into trouble and there's nothing to fall back on, a man, and I was somewhere, and a man was running helter-skelter. The wife gave back, no savings at all. You are vulnerable without savings. You're very vulnerable. Don't be that vulnerable. And I want to say this again. Don't allow family take out your savings. Look at it. Don't allow people bring in their chaos or their disorder into your own order. That's why I said have a percentage you will use to solve problems. Once that percentage is finished, it is finished. If all you do is to solve problems, you will not be happy. First of all, your happiness is in question. But more importantly, your financial progress is also in question. I tell people, if this phone falls on the floor and then gets broken, I will spend some money, right, to repair it. The best it can come back to is the original stage. There's no problem that will make you progress. You didn't hear that. All the problem you solve sinks your money. No one is going to make you progress. So you will have to have problem-solving money, but you will also have to have progress money. The one that you will put so that you cannot touch, that will bring your life up. Is that okay? So, what did we cover today? Everything that progresses must work with a formula, right? It has numbers and must work with a formula. You have to write a note to yourself that this is the last month you will spend 100% of your salary. And guess what? Let's say your salary is 100,000. And you are not touching 30,000. In 1 year, right, you will be better than 95% of people who own accounts. We said 95% don't have up to 500,000 in their account balance, right? And let me tell you the interesting part, and you will need to listen to this. If you have money in your account, there's this spirit. You can fight anybody. There's this ginger, and money is confidence. Oh. Money is a lot of mental confidence. You just enter into the way you even put your hand in your pocket, master, because you know that there's something in your account. That's what gives rich people arrogance. They know what's in their account. And that's why some smart people talk like vegetable. There's nothing in their account. You go somewhere, they say, sit down, shake it. Have you ever seen any politician? They will be coming with, which day was I going to the airport? And then I just noticed every commotion, fine jeeps, everything. And then a guy came out, just, and although it's slightly heavy, with black people wearing style, and then he was all walking around. It's money. Your step changes. Your step changes. Money. Sometimes when my daughter sleeps, I say, don't slouch, chest out. The way you talk massive in meetings. And guess what? You are radiating energy. Nature knows when you don't have money. He knows. But when you get to places, because of your bad ground saving, you will not be afraid. There are some things we beg for that we should not beg for anymore. Please and please operate your life with a formula. And don't let emotions lead you into spending outside that formula. If you break that formula, it will break you. Now, let's take questions. I said I will always leave 15 minutes out for questions. Did we learn anything today? Well, but, okay, so please give him the mic. But let me state this. After this meeting, your resolve will be tested. I'm expecting only 10% of you to do these things. To do what I've suggested. Because you will have reasons not to follow a formula. And it will not be your fault. And sometimes it could be good reasons. Let me say this again. Nature will test your resolve. So after you leave this meeting and you said next month you're starting with a formula, you will have problem more than 70%. In fact, it might even double. You can do that formula, and the problem you have, you will feel like you want to go and borrow. Remember the story I gave you about my girlfriend. I didn't die. In fact, I have a wonderful wife, 4 children. Anything that will make you touch that 30%, remember that it's enemy from the village. So when you remember that, just assume you don't have that 30%. And then start taxing your brain. How do you solve it? Oh, they said, oh. And prayer works. If they are sick, pray. Take them to the hospital. Start calling uncles. Start calling everybody they call their friends. Let them donate. It's because you think you have. That's why you sink it in problems. That money from this moment on is not your money. It's your money for your future. So let's assume somebody is now sick. They now called you. They need 300,000. The first thing your mind would think of is your savings. That's the mind that has made you small. You don't have, that thing is not your money. 300,000. First of all, pray. God heals. And if you take them to the hospital, start calling uncles. Please, can you help? Help. Our brain can come up with creative ways. Because let's even assume that 30% is not there. It has always not been there now. How many of us have had situations and we didn't have money to solve? How many of us have had situations and we didn't have money to solve? And you are still alive. Once you have savings, assume you still don't have the money to solve it. For some reason, and I won't tell you a small something. We're recording, right? Somebody, a close friend of mine, had an issue, and then she needed 1.5 million. Oh, so, okay, I called because the person was very close. I said, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? I cannot raise that 1.5 million as part of the budget. And I said, okay, I will give you 500. She said, oh, blah, 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 blah. She has rallied around, blah, 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 blah. She will not say. So I now stretched the budget a little bit and sent 700,000. No, borrow. It's that help. I have help money actually that I give out. So I now stretch it because I didn't have that 1.5 to give. Guess what? When I now sent the 700,000, the person said, there's no way. Whoa. By the time the surgery came, she found it. Nature will test your resolve. I could have made it up to that 1.5, but it will be out of budget. I stick with it, and she got it from another source. Remember, my girlfriend did not kill me. This thing I'm saying like a joke. I said I slept, they were praying for me. I said, I felt like my spirit was going to leave me. No comment. If you attack that problem out of a formula, outside what you have proposed as a formula, you might have solved that problem, but you have killed a tree in its early stage. And let me say this again, because this is where I know Africa, young people are battling a lot. There are young, smart people that their lives are miserable because of family. It is not your fault that your dad don't have money. Now you say I'm wicked, right? It is not your fault. But, you know, I keep telling myself, your children too are going to come. Just ensure that the pain you have with your past is not what you are giving back to. But without any serious thing to break that chain, you will give back to it. They will pursue your children for school fees. You say, God forbid. It's okay to forbid it, but you have to be doing something now. You are spending everything and you are hoping on miracles only. How will it happen? You didn't plant anything, you are praying to God that God should give you harvest. I said, all the money you have is not for you to eat it. You have to keep that money and assume, in fact, I said, I invited my own, and I'll tell you why I invited my own. I wanted something desperate. I didn't want to be saving. I sank in all to start a business. But again, that's another thing. But you have to be doing something. It's you first. It's you first. It's your life first. I keep telling, sometimes in a very critical place, my wife, I said, when I stand in the presence of God, if you believe in judgment, it is me that will stand alone. Save your own self first. Save your own self first. It's a tough lesson, right? Very tough. Sometimes they will even call you that you're a wicked person. Don't worry. Don't worry. When I was still trying to build this thing, I don't know how many wicked text messages I received. Don't spend all your money on problems. And some of those problems, I said, they are not your problem. They are family problems. Don't take your savings. You will not listen, I know. But it's okay. No problem, God will help you. All right, so let's take questions.
So thank you so much for today's section. So, when you were talking about the savings, you mentioned that the savings should be divided into three parts.
Yeah.
So how do we manage that savings? Because say for instance you are locking it up in somewhere you can't access, for instance, and you mentioned that it should be in three parts. Then how do we take, for instance, the one for health? If we've locked,
And so it's something you can design yourself, how you want to do it. If you have designed something for help, this is how much. And don't say because you didn't use it this month, you will not need it next month. Be piling them up. It's a formula. If you say 10% or 5%, right? And let's say you earn 100,000, 5% of 100,000 is what? 5,000. Keep it somewhere. Keep it somewhere. So you can design an account, you can, whatever it is. And technology is getting better these days that you can separate money into different accounts. But you know that this is what. So if there's no problem this month, still keep it. Add up another one, still keep it. Because sometimes problem of 100,000 will come. And if what you have in your help account is what? 55,000. Tell them that's what you have. And for some people, you can have it that good that it gets up to 1 million, and there's no problem coming for you. Once there's no problem, huh? Dr. Nancy is like, you will get to a point where problem will not even look for you again. Honestly. Then you now start dashing people and be part of other people's life. And at that level, massively, to enrich your soul. So it's up to you that as an aggressive measure, 70% is what you should spend on your expenses. Your 30% you have to save it, either do business with it, do help, whatever, how you want to cut that 30% is up to you. But ensure that you give out, you save, and then you invest in a side business. And that's where portfolio investment also comes in. Go ahead, next question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just to add to what he said, so what if for those persons who they've not grown the capacity to save and keep to the varying, you said 10% each, right, for your 30%, what would you advise that they do, like the strategy that could help them? Should they give it to someone? Should they, like, what do you think can help?
All right. I'm looking for a very good way to explain. You know, one of the reasons why I like math is because it doesn't give room for emotions, right? It doesn't give room for emotions. So something is either 1 or 2. It cannot be, you know, it's looking like 1, then it's 2. So the best thing you can do this week to next week, before next month comes in, for salary earners, is for you to clarify all your avenue for expenses. You know, the way I did it, calculate your rent, calculate what it is you spend on feeding, calculate this, calculate transportation, and have it all well documented. And then ask yourself, will 70% take care of this? If 70% cannot take care of this, start cutting down a few costs. If you need to cut your hair, you don't need to make your hair. And you know, I keep saying cut your hair. It's not a sin, right? Now, if you now have done that, and you need, let's say, an accountability partner. So be sure of the accountability partner. The best bet, what I've seen that works most often, is for you to go and meet your account officer. And they can do that for you. Lenko too does that. So you can tell them, because if you meet a friend, one day, if your friend doesn't have your discipline, you will think you have savings. Then you now call for the savings, then you now discover that there will be stories. Somebody that you've been talking to, the moment you just bring the issue of you want to collect your money, the person has said, please call me back, network is bad. Then you call the person will give you 3 missed calls and say, Kai, I'm in a noisy place, can you call me back? the person has spent your money. So best bet, go and meet your account officer. If your account officer spends your money, she's a thief. Abi, she doesn't have that right now. And tell them, I need this. GTB does that too. There's a savings for GTB. There's app for it. So decide it. And if you, like, sometimes you can even open an account without an app on it and without an ATM card. That you have to go to the bank to get it. So just transfer. As soon as it's coming, the first thing you should do is to transfer the one that is not for spending and stick with our other one. And I keep saying, you will not die. Trust me. When I started this thing years ago, right, before I got into trouble, it was food that I had to cut down. And up till now, I eat one good meal a day. Up till now. Just one. Just one. You know, Fed is my brother. They used to think it's my aunt. There are 2 or 3 people in between us. 2 or 3. Sometimes I see his food. You cannot eat it. So even that 1 square meal is still minimal. And I'm still very sharp. These days, matter, I cannot think with food in my stomach. Because I've gotten used to it. And I'm very healthy. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So you've apportioned the loan under category of help.
Yes, it's
Okay.
help now. Yes.
So what if for people who they get to ask for funds and they have like a stated time they will return it. So in your mind, looking at that time they would return the money, you've said that, okay, I'm now going to work on something else, or you've apportioned that particular time, I would spend it on
Another
this
thing.
other, yes, and it doesn't come. So how does it really work that way?
No, it happens, but don't give out what you cannot lose. Don't even attempt it. And this advice is from somebody who has suffered. I've suffered. I went to guarantee somebody's money, I've suffered. Like I've suffered. I've gotten into plenty trouble, giving out things I cannot afford to do. Don't do it. Like, don't do it. If you cannot lose it, don't give it. Did you hear that? If you cannot lose it, don't what? If she said she doesn't want to pay 700,000, cannot kill me at this stage. In fact, they don't return it. I gave somebody now, somebody here knows the person. Give the person, also, okay, 350, oh, yeah, take 350,000 for 2 weeks. Up to date, it doesn't come. So, but again, if you give out something you can afford to lose, then there's no bitterness. Like, there's no bitterness in my heart. If I give you something and you have not returned it, there's no bitterness. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm bitter against anybody. No, I'm not sure. And if the date comes and you have not returned, and I message you and you didn't return, I message you again, I just leave it to God. So it's not a problem. If she returns the 700,000, fine. If she doesn't return, life moves on. So, but again, once you just discover that you are not at this stage, some is 7,000 they can afford to. Don't give out what you cannot lose. Don't give out. If you have 55,000 in terms of help savings, and the person who has a problem of 100,000, and it's 10,000 you can afford to lose, because it's help. In fact, just call the person, I don't have this 100,000, but at least take this 10,000. Maybe as we are looking for, they will even appreciate you. It has caused enmity between good friends. One of my good friends that I still regret up to date, what cost our fight? 300,000. 300,000. You just lose good friendship. Because of that, don't, any friends, and I like that with one of my friends, regardless of my pain then, person, once you just discover that, in fact, the people not to help with money, people in trouble. So at that point, just dash them money. Dash them what you can afford. All right. Is that all the questions? It's already 5. Next week, we're going to be talking about so the benefit of having a side business. Right? You know, when I brought this up at home, my wife asked me a question that why am I encouraging people to lose focus in terms of their core work? And I said, side business won't make you lose focus if you're a focused person. Right. In fact, the time you spend in social media can be invested in just learning how to run a side business. Your ability to have surplus is capped. How much do you want to earn in salary? How much? 1 million per month. Well, if you're comfortable with it, it's okay. If you're not comfortable with it and you need something more, you cannot start it up now. The skill you build in having something, in another 2-3 years, the muscle you must have built in working with people, in even being disappointed. I told us that I was owing at a particular point in time 20 million, 4 years in pain. What? It's not my face that makes me, it's what my heart can contain that makes me. So once you build those, you will be able to. That's why I will always encourage you, have something, sell something, buy something, by the side. Don't pay too much attention to it at the detriment of your core tax. Because, you know, she said I was talking to Farmland people, if they start starting businesses, it will be, I said, beyond Farmland, I want them successful as a person. And there's no need to tell you that salary will take care of all your needs. I cannot say that. So, I cannot say that. And with a side business, it also distracts you from the time you're wasting. Because you want to have a reputation of delivering on your tax and also a reputation of working through people. If you can combine that skill, we have young people in this place that will do extremely very well. In another 5 years, check out all K-Trybe teams. We will just be jamming each other with private jets on the sky. Hello, that's so crazy. By that time, plane will be like car. You can remove your hand from the window. I'm just joking. So again, if there's no further question, I want to thank every one of you for coming. And then next week, but again, I need to be sure. Are we okay with these meetings? We held the first meeting, and it was on Saturday, and people said they wanted it to be Sundays. Is Sundays convenient for us? More convenient than Saturday, or do we need to tweak or change anything? Everything is okay. Thank you so much. Let's invite Teresa.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for that wonderful, inspirational talk. I hope we all learned something today, because I have learned a lot today. We hope that we'll see you next week, same time, same place. I just want to thank everyone who made out time to be here today. Thank Doctor for your time. Thank you, sir. And thank people. I saw some new people. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm in the group. One of my brothers is a beneficiary of the recent Farmland MVMA, Dr. Ibrahim. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so my name is Dr. Anasin Haruna. Yes, I work and I have a side hustle. And I think with what I'm currently pursuing, it helps me to understand that you don't live business for work, but you can live a work for a business. And that's what particularly I'm pursuing now, and the future is bright. So coming here today, I also learned a lot. One very good aspect that I was very comfortable when we were discussing it, is about this issue of savings, and that you don't allow the problems of your family to take you down. at a point in my life, I was in that situation. Now I have to sit down, understand my income, and then decide. So I'm someone that does not, at a point I don't have discipline when it comes to money. I can say, yes, I have put this aside, that I'm not going to touch it. But when any problem strikes, I will not know the time that I will release out the money. And the difficult decision I took was this issue of 70-30. I implemented it sometime in 2017. Sometimes in 2017. And because I know I don't have this discipline of making sure I don't touch savings, what I did was just to remove that money from the source into an account that I cannot access. To the glory of God, I did not turn back to that money till the end of 2018. For 2 years, for a good 2 years. And whenever a problem strikes, I will not even think I have money. It's as good as I don't have it. So if problems that are inevitable comes, then I will always have a friend to, please, can you assist with so amount? Now, when I'm being assisted with such amount of money, then when I have my salary, then I will repay, and I will cut from that 70% that I am supposed to have spent. So my savings is always, and it is with that savings that I was able to start a business that it's going now. One paradox that I will use to close is that I want to say in a particular context that I am happy, I'm happier, and I'm less stressed when I don't have money in cash. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, because I know I have a savings. And most of the issues that pulls you down, as Dr. Redley said, are originally your problems. So what I mean by I'm happy is somebody will just approach you with a problem that naturally you should not be even part of that problem. If you don't have savings and if you use emotions to judge, you will feel so bad for not helping. But when I don't have that money to offer, the simple thing is, I wish I can help. But I'm not in a position to help. I wish you better or even best. So I did not move any extra mile to spend money I don't have. Because if I give you, it's a money that I don't have. So by saying I wish you well, by the time you close the door and go, I go back to my sleep, that problem is not mine. So I'm happy. Now, if I go extra mile to collect from someone so that I give you, that pain is there because I spend something that I don't have. So that's the painful part. By not giving and saying sorry, that's the happiest part. And it has always worked for me. I repeat, within a particular context. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know why I have to introduce myself. Should I stand up or sit? Okay, so my name is Blessing. My name is Blessing Onolapo. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Farmalat Limited. And Mr. Jerry actually, what's the word again? Accused me of not showing up. I said, okay, even though we finished late at church, I would try to come. Let me just see what's going on here. And I'm glad I'm here. I've learned a couple of things, so I'll just follow what he did. So I've learned a couple of things here. And something happened, I think earlier last month. And I think what he said today just made my mind come at peace. So I started working 9 years ago. And I can't say one particular thing is to my name. Like, I don't have an asset to my name. So every of my savings, every of my money, I even go far as taking loan for family issues. And something happened beginning of last month. So I wish we were not recording. I used to put money together and give to my mom to support her business. And when I did that, she was talking like she did not know, she did not use the money for what I said she should use the money for. And I'm like, I felt really bad. Like, if I had the support, like, I'm hardworking, hardworking, like hardworking, with all the work, with all the money, I can't say this is what I have to my name. So I've been working like a man for my family. I say, you know what? This is it. I'll always give you this amount every month. Everybody should sort themselves. I took my sister. I said, you know what? Nobody should meet me for anything. Nobody. I'll sort this one with me, and everybody should sort themselves. So when I made that decision, throughout that week, I wasn't fine. It felt like I have heartbreak because it felt like my mom has been my word. So saying that to her felt like something else, but I had to take that decision because it's like I'm being drained every time. I'm being every single. When I see my brother's message, my heart cuts. I'm like, did I give birth to you? For God's sake. So it was a whole lot of me, and I just had to make that decision. So when he was talking about when someone left him, his heart broke and all of that, did he die? Of course, I did not die. Everybody would be fine, would be very fine. And when he was talking about side hustle, I have a lot of things that I do. I sell food stuff. I started making car wash. Recently, I put together the chemicals for floor cleaner. It came out well. I started working on that one. And I'm like, okay, so after all this work, what is it? So coming here validated what I've been thinking in my head. Okay, so you are normal. You are not different. So thank you, sir, for the word, and God bless you.
Thank you. We thank these people that have shared their personal experiences and what they've learned with us. I also personally learned a lot, and I'm happy to be here to attend this program, and I hope that you people too that are here seated today have really, really learned something. And I hope that you don't just learn it, you put it into practice. After today, always remind yourselves about some of these key things that have been said here, because it's not just coming to sit down and listen. Are you going to live by it? Is it going to be your watchword from today? Because I once learned from someone that whatever you don't have control over shouldn't bother you. Because even if you die, that is going to continue. Life will always move on. So just do what is important and leave the rest. Nature will take care of itself. Thank you, and we call it a wrap from today. See you same time next week. And please invite someone. Thank you.